What's going on, guys? The new banners just dropped, the Itto banner and the weapon banner that are coming up here in a couple of days. So I wanted to go over them as I do with all banners and talk about what is good and bad about them. Now, obviously, we know some of what's coming already. We already know that Red Horn is going to be on there, and then we know that Shinobu is going to be on one of the banners as well. There are definitely some things that you want to be aware of, for lack of a better term, with these. So, all right, so first up over here, we have the Itto banner. As you can see, we have Shinobu, Goro, and Chongyun. So Chongyun is probably one of the least expected characters on this banner, but to be honest, it's probably just because he hasn't been run in a while. I don't remember the last time I saw Chongyun. Either that means he was a long time ago, or I'm a forgetful person. It's probably a little bit of both, but this is what you have to expect on the Itto banner. And then real quickly, here's what the weapon banner is going to look like. We'll go over this in a minute. So, KUKI Shinobu, Goro, and Chongyun. What do you need to know about these characters? Goro is going to be one of Itto's best supports. He's going to be one of the characters you want to have on basically every Itto team. There's been a couple teams that have come out of the woodwork that, like, okay, you don't really need Goro for, but for the most part, he's a pretty good support for Itto and provides a lot for Albedo as well and just defense scaling teams. So Goro being on this banner is actually a plus for anyone that's looking to build Itto. If you're trying to pull Itto this time around, Goro being there is good. Chongyun doesn't really have any synergy with this team at all, except for attack speed, which it doesn't really affect Itto as far as I remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, I'll pin the comment. It should only affect his normal attacks, but if it doesn't, cool. You still probably won't use Chongyun though. He's just not that good of a character for this setup in particular, and I think he is just a shoo-in for this banner. Now you have Shinobu too. Based on the kit that they gave us without the official numbers, I can tell you that this character is probably going to be fine. I don't think she'll be meta defining or anything right now, but it's possible that in the future, if we see any cool interactions in Sumeru with Dendro, maybe KUKI ends up being like super game changing. Right now, she just looks like she's going to be a healer for Taser, which seems to be like a pretty good thing in my opinion, because having a healer and Taser is really consistent and nice. That's why a lot of people play Kokomi Taser, because you get a lot of high hydro damage, but you also get a lot of healing out of it, and Taser typically only has single heals, which is just not a lot. So having an option for an electro healer finally is going to be nice. And to be completely honest, guys, I do think that Shinobu is going to be a character that's worth having, just because she is the only official electro healer. Having one character that is a dedicated electro healer is good. So for that reason, I do feel like, you know, getting one Shinobu is worth it. However, if you already have Itto and you're saving for someone like Kazuha, as always, don't build pity unless you're, you know, completely prepared to get ruined. I see so many comments down below when I make these videos, and they're all people saying things like, oh no, I pulled one time on this because I wanted to get a 4-star character and then I lost by 50-50. And I need to make it abundantly clear, like, if you are saving for a character, do not build pity and attempt to get a 4-star. You may get lucky once, but there's a lot of people that haven't gotten so lucky and then they've ruined their pity or their guarantee or something, and you just don't want to do that. Shinobu will come back on future banners, and again, right now, I don't think she's meta defining. She may be very good in the future, but right now, she's just going to be good enough. She has her own job. She's an electro healer. 2 thumbs up, right? So yeah, in total, I guess the 4-star value on this is kind of depends. If you're building Itto, if you want Itto, then Goro being on here is already, it's amazing. But if you're just looking at 4 stars and you don't really know what to pull for, Shinobu is probably the only one you're gonna really want. If you need Chongyun, that's great. Most people are not looking for Chongyun as much as they are Goro and Shinobu. So if you're just looking at 4 stars, this is a skip. This is one banner that I would say if you already have Itto and you're not prepared to get constellations on Itto, just don't roll on the banner at all. Itto constellations are good, but again, I think with the possibility of Kazuha coming up, it's just not really worth it. Okay, but moving on to the weapon banner. So we have a classic, a crowd favorite. The Signora weapon, Memory of Dust, is available with Redhorn Stone Thresher. So here's the thing, guys. Because Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers exists, and because Widsith exists, and because so many good catalysts already exist, the opportunity for you to use Memory of Dust is so rare. Most catalysts want like 1 of 3 catalysts, and that's usually not Memory of Dust, Skyward Atlas, or Lost Prayer to Sacred Winds. Just DPS focused catalysts are not actually used all that often, and when they are used, usually that character will have a very specific one it wants to go for. With Memory of Dust not being a crit weapon, it's harder to build crit with. And all in all, if you are just looking to build a DPS catalyst, then Memory of Dust is fine, but generally speaking, it's not something that I would recommend going for, just because there's so many like solid options already. But then you have Red Horn, and Red Horn is a pretty good weapon. Even if you don't have a defense scaling character, 88 crit damage is pretty hard to beat. And anyone you play with Bennett or with attack buffs in general with this weapon is going to just do fine. The damage bonus you get from the defense, even if it's very minimal, it's still pretty good. And then of course on Itto, it's a monster, right? So Red Horn's pretty good. Memory of Dust is fine. It's not like game changing or anything. And then for the 4 stars, we have Lithic Blade, Lion's Roar, Dragon's Bane, Sacrificial Fragments, and Stringless. So the 4 stars on this are actually pretty good. The Lithic Blade is hit or miss. There's other options that are better like Serpent Spine, but to be honest, not a lot of good claymores are in the game. So unlike the Catalyst category, Lithic Blade can actually be a pretty solid weapon because there's just not a lot of competition. So Lithic Blade ends up being pretty okay. Now Lion's Roar is actually a really solid weapon for multiple different characters. I personally like to use it on Kaya and Reverse Melt Quick Swap. It does a lot of damage. Basically, it's dealing bonus damage to anyone with Electro or Pyro on them. And for that reason, the sword is actually pretty good because it's just damage bonus. So Lion's Roar isn't actually that bad, but it's not something that I would shoot for. Whereas Dragon's Bane is something that is pretty good just all around. For characters like Hu Tao and Xiangling, they can take full advantage of Dragon's Bane. Rosaria can also take full advantage of it in Reverse Melt. So Dragon's Bane is a pretty solid weapon. Sacrificial Fragments, good for Sucrose, good for Mona Battery. Other than that, there's not really like a super huge use for it right now, but it's a sacrificial weapon, so it's not bad. And then you have Stringless, which is just a very good bow in general, good on Fischl, good on Venti. Stringless can also be good on characters that just rely on nuke damage. You have like Sara, for example. Even though Sara, you want to have her with energy recharge and a high attack weapon, Stringless can still help out with your burst damage. So just things like that. Overall, the weapon banner is like, it's all right. In general, I think the 4 stars on this banner are not so bad. I think the 5 stars, it's just an oof for me because even if you want Red Horn, you basically have to go through Memory of Dust, which is, there's just so many better weapons. Like if I got a Memory of Dust personally, I probably wouldn't build it. Even on my free-to-play account, I probably wouldn't be using it. I'd probably still be using, you know, my Thrilling Tales, my Prototype Amber if I decide to build that, or my Wid Sith. So I don't know. I would avoid Memory of Dust and I would avoid the weapon banner. But if you do happen to pull on it, just know the 4 stars are pretty good. And then yeah, again, just on the character banner, if you want KUKI, like this is a fine banner. If you're trying to build an Itto team, Goro is good there, but KUKI and Chongyun probably aren't going to be the best on an Itto team. So it's specifically these two having synergy. Outside of that, there's not really much I can say. Both these banners are kind of mid. They're just fine. I wouldn't say that these are banners that you need to pull on. And in fact, I personally, if I was not going to go for Itto and not going to go for Shinobu specifically, like if I didn't have any interest in them, then I would just skip these banners altogether. I would just wait, save up another 3 weeks, rage for Kazuha. Hopefully he's coming back. And then also, you know, with Sumeru coming soon, we'll also have some new units coming. So I personally would save through this unless you want Itto specifically, in which case, you know, great banner. But outside of that, guys, I can't really recommend the banners. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this has been a short one, but I really wanted to get this information to you guys out as quickly as possible. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out and tells YouTube that the video doesn't suck. And check out my Twitch if you want to hang out at twitch.tv/Braxophone. I'll catch you guys later.